and Whistle Tales from Azeroth. As always, here at the Pig and Whistle Inn in Stormwind, I go through a variety of subjects with regards to World of Warcraft. So grab a bottle or a pint, sit back and enjoy. Today's subject is going to be a little bit different. It's WoW news, but there's only one sort of big news to talk about, and I'll let you know about that in a second. So there won't be any sort of weekly stuff, there won't be any, the usual things in the podcast. It will just be basically all on this news, and this is the news that there is a lawsuit against Activision Blizzard by the Californian Department of Fair Employment and Housing, and it's for discrimination, sexual harassment, that kind of thing. Now, this is massive by any sort of scale. It's come to light after a 2-year investigation from the state, and just a 2-year investigation on Activision Blizzard. And this is not just Activision Blizzard, this is Blizzard as well. This is, the Blizzard that we all love and stuff, the Blizzard that made WoW, all of that. There's been a lot of investigation on persons within the company, and they house sort of a frat boy culture, as it were. So there's a lot of harassment around the workplace. There's a lot of financial stuff that has gone on, like people not getting paid enough, that kind of thing. So they have launched a full-scale lawsuit against Activision, and we obviously might not know all of the details as it goes through, but I'm going to give you some of the points as to what we do know and what we can sort of do going forward as a player base, as sort of, just being part of a WoW community, any part of Blizzard community. This includes Overwatch, Heroes of the Storm, Hearthstone, that kind of thing. So the facts that we do know, or what we do know, is that Blizzard did release a official statement against these charges, and the very first official statement was shit, to be honest. It was really bad. It came out as petty, aggressive, and they felt that they were offended that the state would dare to even investigate them about this sort of claim. Now, this is kind of how it came across. It wasn't sort of we're apologetic. They sort of just went, no, this is ridiculous. It's completely out of the blue. They've just randomly done this. They have nothing to go on, that kind of thing. It's ridiculous because they've had a 2-year investigation, and some people have come forward, and there'll be an example of that later on. But they followed this statement up by another statement, and this is from Francis F. Townsend, who was, I believe, George W. Bush's Secretary of Defense or something like that. And the statement that she has put out is absolutely ludicrous, by the way. She's been there for 4 months, and in the statement she states that since she's been there, she's not been sexually harassed at all, and that these claims were untrue, and in other cases just old. So it doesn't matter how old your claim is, if it's over sort of 5 years, 10 years, it's old. It's fake news. It's, it doesn't matter anymore, which is absolutely ludicrous, might add. It's not a good look. It really isn't. Having someone who has been there for 4 months come out and speak on the entire company's behalf is absolutely ridiculous. For 4 months, this investigation has been going on for 2 years, and some of these accounts are decades old, so 10 years plus. Blizzard has obviously been a company before 2000, where they made Warcraft, and and they became sort of, infamous after they have made the MMO World of Warcraft. That is kind of their, pedestal that they stand upon, and where they brought all of these different games from. Sort of Heroes of the Storm, Hearthstone are literally games of World of Warcraft. You have a card game of Hearthstone, which is World of Warcraft based. You have Heroes of the Storm, which is many, many, many different characters from World of Warcraft. It's ridiculous. So what these two statements basically say is that Blizzard needs to get their shit together, and that there is sort of they're on the rocks. They really are with these two statements. They're shit statements. They have no sort of backing behind them. They have no sort of backbone behind them at all. Someone from 4 months working there is speaking on behalf of the entire company, where loads of employees still work. And don't get me wrong, loads of these employees have done nothing. They are actually victims rather than the abusers here. And it's just ridiculous. It's absolutely ridiculous. So what we do know at the moment is that there are early accounts being over a decade old, and these accounts obviously would have come to light through the state, and this is what they would have been investigating for. So they would have went to the state and told them about it, and this is what would have started their investigation. The one that did cause the investigation, I believe, was a female employee who was on a company trip with Blizzard, and she took her own life on that trip, but because this is due to having some explicit photos of her being passed around the other employees. Now, this is... it's not good luck for Blizzard. It really isn't. These employees that are mostly being targeted by the lawsuit are ex-employees. There are some that still work there. So many employees that have been sent away in the past couple years, who have been let out of the back door quietly, as it were, have been given a handshake by people who are higher up and told, yeah, we're sort of looking at, or we're looking down the barrel of the gun. It's best that you leave now and we can maybe avoid this, that kind of thing. So there's loads of employees that have left that were the abusers here, but there's still some at Blizzard that are the abusers. They are the ones who are a little bit higher up possibly, and just let these people walk out without any sort of consequence. It was mainly, from reports that we've heard, it's a slap on the wrist almost. So you'd have an employee who is either who is sexually harassing someone, or is just being a frat boy culture, in air quotes. Then they would get a slap on the wrist and be like, oh, don't do that, and that's about it. That's kind of nothing too major. By the higher ups, it's like, what are you doing, that kind of thing. And it's sort of overlooked. The victim is just got no say in this, and it's really sad, to be honest. There's some good things that come out of this, though. There is some good things that come out of this. So, obviously, loads more of accounts from employees are coming forward, and this helps the case against Activision Blizzard, and this will help the case to remove these people from power and to have a fair working environment for everyone at Blizzard. And don't get me wrong, this isn't just Blizzard that have this sort of thing. I would imagine quite a few different companies have this sort of workspace. It's sad to say. It's sort of like the harassment side, the unfair sort of employment side, work-wise, or the payment-wise, that kind of thing. It's sad to have it brought on Blizzard, because Blizzard obviously is a company that that some of us look up to on this podcast, because it is the company that made the games that we love, whether it be World of Warcraft, Overwatch, even the old Warcraft games, Hearthstone, Heroes of the Storm, that kind of thing. It is a company that we look up to and we see as amazing because of these games that they put out, but it's unfortunately not just about the games, which is the really sad thing. It's more about the people behind the games, which you don't necessarily want to think about, because with a game, this is my personal experience, WoW I can jump into and just lose myself. I love it. I love the game. I love everything about sort of Overwatch. I love Heroes of the Storm. I love Hearthstone every now and again, Diablo. All of the Blizzard games I can just jump into every now and again and lose myself and not worry about sort of, real life, that kind of thing. It becomes sort of a getaway almost. It becomes a holiday sometimes for some people. If you come back home from work and you just play a couple hours, that kind of thing, it's to lose yourself in enjoyment, that kind of thing. You want to get away from this. But some people can't, now knowing what is happening at Blizzard. Again, the good things are that more accounts are coming to light. They are taking action. Some, within game. It's just really upsetting, to be honest, to have this sort of thing put upon the company that you love and that you look up to, and it's like a shit stain on the wall almost. It's not a good look at all. It's not a good look. So there are some changes that are being made, and I do love the community's response to what has happened. So we do know a couple of people who are mostly harbouring this frat boy culture, and they do have NPCs within the game and quests and items within the game. And a good thing that came out of this is obviously some of these NPCs are Alliance and Horde, and the community obviously just gets together and decides their own sort of fate on it. So you've got Horde perma-killing these NPCs to show what they think about this sort of behaviour. They just perma-kill this NPC in Stormwind just to kill him and just to sort of show them that we won't take this shit, which I find amazing. You have Blizzard actively removing these NPCs. As I speak, they're looking to remove the NPCs, the quests, the items from the game and replace them with other NPCs, other item names, other quest names, that kind of thing. So there is a cleanup job that is happening right now in Blizzard, which I think is the better response compared to their statements that they made on the day of the release. It's going in a good direction. Since the lawsuit came out, it's been one of the better days for Blizzard, because obviously everything leading up to this lawsuit coming out publicly, it was all behind closed doors. No one knew about it. Everyone at Blizzard just carried on doing what they do, being sort of having this frat boy culture, having this unequal work environment. And now that it's brought to light, there's a lot of things that can be done about it, whether it's the community that help out, whether it's people just looking towards it with an eager eye. I mean, Blizzard employees literally took a stand. They went out a couple days ago and they protested. They just did a walkout on Blizzard about financial, fair grounds, the harassment side, absolutely everything. They just walked out and protested, and loads of people who didn't even work at Blizzard joined in. Loads of people who played the game joined in. They did a mass logout on the same day because it's more impactful that people see the numbers, the higher ups see the numbers of the WoW count going down and up. So, and loads of people showed their support with the blue heart emoji on loads of posts, Facebook, Twitter. They show that they support this movement. I just come back to it's a sad time for Blizzard. It's a sad time for the player base as a whole, because these are games that we all look towards to have enjoyment and get away from stuff like this. And it's not good. It's not a good look. So what can we do as a community? Well, firstly, what we can do is believe victims who come out and say about their experience at Blizzard. Blizzard hire loads and loads of employees. There are likely maybe hundreds, 100,000 possibly, potentially, of victims in this, and more will come to light as the days progress, and we just have to believe them and sort of back them on it. We have to back what's good here and what's not good. We've had loads of people showing the support for the removal of NPCs, quests and items from the game, that kind of thing. There have been a couple people defending it, saying, what's the point of removing the NPCs and stuff? These are the people that you can't necessarily abuse them, but you have to steer them in the right direction. There are a couple of people who complain about the removal of these NPCs, saying it will do nothing and stuff. But I don't know how to explain it. You can't abuse them. You have to steer them in the right direction and show the argument for why it is a good thing, because abusing someone just doesn't help the cause at all, whatever it may be. You have to support each other in whichever way people want to react to this. So a lot of people might cancel their WoW sub. Loads of people I know have done. Loads of people are thinking about it, and it's the right decision for them. That is how they want to go about it. They want to look to go to another game. They don't want to give their money to someone who is like this and they know is like this. Like I said, many companies might harbour the same sort of tendencies, which is a sad thing, but they might not know it, so sort of the ignorance is bliss, that kind of thing. They can at least choose to not spend their money for these people, with the subscription, with, I don't know, in-game purchases such as mounts and pets and stuff like that. So they can choose that and support them in that way. If they choose to give up their sub, that's fine. That's what they feel is best for them to deal with this. If you choose to carry on playing the game, again, that's fine, because you might have some raids that you go to, and it's not about playing the game, it's about playing the game with people that you enjoy. That's what makes the game. This is what makes the game. So raiding with loads of people, it's about that community, that small community that you're in, that you enjoy the game with. It's not about you enjoying the game because some dickheads are, high up at Blizzard made it. It's because you've taken control and this is the aspect of the game that you enjoy, with the friends that you've made in the game, and this is your safe space within the game almost. This is what gets you away from that real life problem. So if people choose to stop their WoW subscription, support them. If people choose to carry on every now and again playing for raid commitment, some PvP fun with friends, to even just play with friends. If this is the only game that you play with your friend who can only play once a week or whatever, it's you've got to support them in that. It doesn't belong to Blizzard, the game. They might have made it. They might have made the game. They might have made this world that we play in. But we've taken over the world, almost. It's about the people who do YouTube channels on it, who stream well, who do PvP content, who do the mythic dungeons, who do the PvP tournaments, who do absolutely everything. It's about that guy who gets home from work and has 2 hours to play after he's put his son or daughter to sleep and his wife's gone to bed or out with some friends for the evening, and it's about him grinding some, his PvP honor or his dungeon gear or anything. It's about him playing that 2 hours to grind that sort of thing and to enjoy the game for the little time that he has on it. It's about that player, and it's about the community within the game now. It's not about the people who made the game. As a community, we can make and break the game, to be honest. If everyone stopped playing, that's the game over. The game dies. Like, Blizzard are kind of built on World of Warcraft, that's the thing. They're built on everything that they've made. It's the community owns the game. It's not Blizzard's anymore. And it's about supporting each other in this. It's about helping the victims of this. And it's about seeing the good that can come out of this rather than what's happened. Because what's happened has happened. But we can at least, now knowing that it's public, actively work towards a better work environment for those at Blizzard and to help anyone who has been victimized by this. That's the truth of it. It isn't everyone's fault at Blizzard. You have to remember that, though. So there's no point, if you know a Blizzard employee, walking up to them and being like, what the fuck are you doing? Like, this is ridiculous. They might not have any control over this. They might not have even known. They might have just started working there. There are people at fault at Blizzard, but there are a lot more victims than there are abusers. And that's something that you have to remember. That's the news for this week. I could have added a couple more things. It could have been a bit longer, the podcast, obviously, but this WoW news deserves its own podcast. It might not be as long. It might not be as entertaining as others, but this needs to be brought to light by as many people as it can. So if you know anyone that doesn't necessarily know what's happening, please let them know what is happening at Blizzard, because the more this word spreads, the better that it can be, and the more fair and the more light that can be shed on it is the better thing to do, I believe, because it brings them into the spotlight rather than keeping them hidden in the dark. The people who are, the abusers of this situation. So, again, sorry it's not as long as you might like it. It's something that needed its own podcast. It will be back to normal the next week. There is obviously Patreon podcasts weekly and stuff like that. But please do share this with anyone that you might know, with anyone that might not have any idea of what's happening. They need to know about this, I feel. And it helps spread the word in whatever way you can, even just doing posts on Facebook. I'll be posting some stuff on Facebook and Twitter later on today about this situation, so you can share them if you want, if you don't necessarily want to put a message yourself. But thank you all very much for listening, as always. Don't let anything like this bring you down. We stand together as a community, and that's the best thing that we can do at the moment. Thank you all again, and go with valor, friend. Goodbye all.